I actually have a crazy thought for this fight. It's impossible, in my opinion, for Joseph Parker to outbox Deontay Wilder. And that seems a weird thing to say when it's well known that Deontay has a lot of technical flaws. But the reason why I think it's impossible is because you need to be so switched on the entire time. And I don't think Joseph Parker can do that. I don't think he's got at this point, the athleticism, the reflexes, the quickness, the discipline, the speed, the whole package that will be necessary to actually maintain 12 rounds of points scoring, winning rounds while not getting hit potentially even one time by Deontay Wilder with a clean right hand. And to me, I think the big problem when so many people fight Deontay is that everybody focuses on how do you avoid his power, but nobody focuses on how do you expose his relatively poor boxing skills. Because if you look at just his boxing ability, he's one of the worst elite fighters in all of boxing in terms of his status in his division compared with his actual boxing skills. They're really, really a big disparity between those two things. But too few fighters expose that because they're too worried about how to actually counter his offense. And as a result, you have a lot of guys who end up fighting on the back foot, trying to outbox him, and eventually they get hit with something, even if it's working, a la Luis Ortiz. Or you have guys who come rushing in, but really they're doing it because they're nervous. They come rushing in a sloppy way. They get countered and they get knocked out. But Andy Lee, Joseph Parker's trainer, hit on the fact a couple of years ago that there are two ways you beat Deontay. One is on the outside, one is on the inside. What you don't do is fight him at the middle distance. That's not going to work. So if Parker fights him at the outside, the reason why I say it's impossible is because Deontay Wilder only needs to hit him once. And so in order to pull that strategy off, and nobody's been able to do that apart from Tyson Fury to some extent in the first fight, but Tyson Fury got put down twice. And really what won him that fight, in my opinion, was the fact that he was able to get up. And if Joseph Parker can't do that, I think he's going to lose because he's going to get put down, again, in my opinion. But if you outbox Deontay, you have to be super slick. So I think an Usyk level fighter could be able to do it. A Shakur Stevenson level fighter would be able to have a chance to do that. But I don't think Joseph Parker's boxing skills are on that level. And so I think his much better approach, if he's actually trying to win rather than just survive, is to do the thing that's been proven by Tyson Fury to give Deontay Wilder the most problems, and that's to fight him up close on the inside. Because number one, Deontay didn't deal with that in the first Fury fight, and he didn't deal with it in the second Fury fight. And since then, he's had one round in 2 years, and Robert Helenius didn't really test him in that way. So we've seen two fights in which Tyson Fury successfully executed this strategy, and we've seen no evidence that Deontay Wilder can actually deal with it. And quite frankly, reading between the lines of what's been going on in the camp, it doesn't sound to me like Deontay has been maximizing his development time when he's been out of the ring to develop his boxing skills as a three-dimensional fighter. It sounds to me like they've just been ticking over with what he can already do, working on his fitness, and frankly, dividing his time between training and MMA. So I don't think you're going to be seeing a radically different, transformed, superior boxing skills Deontay Wilder who looks totally different to what we've seen before. I think you're pretty much going to get the same guy with this new approach that Malik Scott's been taking, where he basically tries to bait his opponents into coming in while he keeps a very stable base, tries and gets them to reach in while he keeps them at range with his jab, with his lead hand, and they reach in and he counters and hits them with something. And that's basically what he's trying to do. That's what Malik Scott's trying to train him to do. I don't think you're going to get anything different than that here. So if Joseph Parker is able to fight him on the inside, like what Tyson Fury was able to do, we haven't seen any evidence that Wilder can actually defeat that style, number one. And number two, there's an inherent advantage to it over boxing him on the outside, which is that, number one, when you come in, you're the one that's leading the charge and you're the one that's causing him problems, and Deontay has to figure out how to deal with you rather than you trying to deal with him on the outside while he's able to try and pick and choose his shots and eventually pick you apart. By coming in, number one, you make him have to figure you out, and number two, you actually, because he has very long arms, you get inside of those arms and you limit a lot of his power, especially if you combine that with clinching, with holding, with dirty boxing on the inside, even standing on his feet, doing whatever you can to basically mean that he can't get very much torque on his shots. Up close, it's a lot easier to do that, okay? But here's the question. Can Joseph Parker actually pull that style off? Because what Tyson Fury did so successfully, and why his second fight in particular against Deontay was a masterclass, was because he was able to do a complete 180 on his style. He transformed himself from a boxer into a Lennox Lewis-style Kronk fighter who was able to come forward on the front foot and basically beat Deontay Wilder into submission on the inside. But it was a total change in his style executed in a very short period of time, and not everyone can do that. So it's a big risk, because if Joseph Parker can, I think it's objectively a better strategy to try. But if he can't, and he's only able to do that half-heartedly, then he's going to be doing something which is not as well prepared, and he's going to be at a disadvantage either way. But I think him and Andy Lee, it's worth trying, because on the outside, I think you're just asking for Deontay Wilder to knock him out eventually, and that's what I think is going to happen. To be clear, my prediction for this fight is Deontay to win by knockout, because I don't think Joseph Parker has the boxing skills to box him on the outside. And I'm not confident in his ability to do a total 180 and change his style and be able to fight on the inside, despite the fact that he's in Tyson Fury's camp. And despite the fact that he has access to people who can teach him that style, I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. But if I'm wrong, and if Joseph Parker does come out and adopt similar tactics, I think he has the possibility to be very effective, because Wilder hasn't proven he can deal with it. He still has very, very limited boxing skills. And the reality is, most of his opponents, with the exception of Tyson Fury, have been really bad fighters relative to being world-level boxers. Joseph Parker is going to be probably the number 2 fighter that Deontay Wilder has faced up to this point in his career, above Luis Ortiz, who, in my opinion, was hyped up quite a lot. I mean, he's not a top 10 fighter in the world, in my opinion. And even he was able to give Wilder problems for a lot of the fight. So what I'm getting at is, let's not lose sight of Deontay Wilder's huge technical flaws and focus so much on his punching power. But the problem is, in order to expose them, you need to be able to fight on the inside or be completely flawless on the outside. So I think if Joseph Parker does the outside approach, I think it's going to be impossible for him to stay perfect the whole time, and I think he gets knocked out. But if he's able to adopt the Tyson Fury tactics or similar tactics, close the distance, fight on the inside, I think he has a chance to win. But my prediction, Deontay Wilder to win this fight by knockout. I'm predicting both him and Anthony Joshua to win their fights fairly comfortably, and I don't think anyone should be surprised that Deontay Wilder wins here, because in my opinion, Joseph Parker is not going to be able to execute the correct tactics to win this fight, and I think he's not going to be able to take advantage of Deontay Wilder's significant technical flaws. But one thing he does have going for him is a very good trainer in Andy Lee, who I think will at least try and have him prepared with a good game plan here. And maybe we'll see something totally unexpected, and I hope we do, because that will make it for a much more interesting fight, in my opinion. But that's my prediction, guys. Deontay Wilder to defeat Joseph Parker fairly comfortably. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Which way do you see this one going? Do you actually think Parker might be able to win this one? Do you think maybe he can even outbox Deontay? Let me know in the comments. Looking forward to this fight tremendously. I'll be doing a lot of videos on this card leading up to it. It's going to be very exciting. Hope you guys are looking forward to it too, and I will catch you all in the next video.